Hello everyone. Today, I want to talk about the person who is more likely to remain single based on research. There are two important reasons for looking at this topic. First, many of the factors associated with long-term singlehood are things people can actually change. Understanding them may help someone improve their chances of forming a healthy relationship. Second, there are factors people cannot easily control, and recognizing those can help explain why finding a partner may sometimes feel unusually difficult. The research includes patterns affecting both men and women. Rather than separating the discussion into one section for each gender, I'll point out which factors appear to be more prominent among men or women. 1. Women who develop negative beliefs about their own vulnerability. The first factor appears to be more common among women, the belief that if something bad happens to another woman, the same thing is likely to happen to them. People naturally try to protect themselves, but sometimes that instinct can turn into overly negative expectations. Research has found that never married women, around 67%, and divorced women, around 66%, were significantly more likely than married women to believe that what happens to women generally will also affect their own lives. Interestingly, widowed women tend to respond more like married women, despite also having experienced the loss of a relationship. This suggests that factors such as social connections, economic circumstances, shared beliefs with a spouse, and the broader structure of marriage may influence these attitudes. Imagine a woman watching a news story about something terrible happening to another woman. It's perfectly reasonable to think, that could happen to me. The problem begins when that thought changes into, that will happen to me. When this mindset becomes deeply rooted, someone may approach relationships with excessive fear, bitterness, suspicion, or defensiveness. Divorced women show this pattern at roughly 66%, compared with approximately 56% among married women, a difference of about 10 percentage points. One possible explanation is emotional baggage from previous experiences. If someone enters every new relationship expecting another disappointment, that fear can make it harder for a potential partner to build a healthy connection with them. If you recognize this tendency in yourself, learning to challenge and reduce those negative assumptions, even gradually, could potentially improve your chances of forming a relationship. 2. Men with poor social skills or very small social networks. The next factor appears more prominently among men, limited social connections. Research suggests that men who remain single are more likely to have extremely small social networks and, in some cases, almost no social network at all. Some may also struggle to initiate conversations, build friendships, or maintain relationships over time. Social anxiety can contribute to this, although having limited opportunities to meet people or simply being naturally shy can have a similar effect. Sometimes the issue isn't that someone doesn't want a relationship. They simply aren't regularly placed in situations where meaningful connections can develop. 3. Men experiencing economic instability. This can include low income, unemployment, or unpredictable employment. Economic stability can play an important role in relationship formation, especially in cultures where men are still expected to provide financial security. When a man feels uncertain about his career or finances, he may also feel less confident about entering a serious relationship or marriage. 4. Women with very high expectations for emotional labor and equality. Another factor involves women who place strong importance on emotional communication, equality, respect, and an equal division of responsibilities. These expectations are not inherently unreasonable. Wanting a partner who communicates, contributes to the household, respects you, and is emotionally present can be completely healthy. The difficulty can arise when someone expects a partner to communicate or process emotions in exactly the same way they do. Men and women can have different communication styles, backgrounds, personalities, and emotional habits. A man may not automatically meet every expectation from the beginning of a relationship. Research suggests that women with strong standards may be more likely to reject relationships that don't meet those expectations. In some cases, this can even lead someone to stop dating because they become convinced that a suitable partner doesn't exist. That doesn't mean people should tolerate disrespect or unacceptable behavior. Healthy relationships require boundaries. But there is also room for communication, patience, learning, and compromise. 5. Women who experienced family instability or toxic relationships early in life. Women who grew up watching their parents constantly fight, experienced severe family conflict, or went through traumatic or abusive relationships may be more cautious about commitment later in life. These experiences can create a strong fear of repeating the past. Someone may become extremely selective because they are determined never to experience the same pain again. There is another potential complication. People sometimes become familiar with unhealthy relationship patterns and unintentionally choose partners who display characteristics similar to those they experienced earlier in life. That can create a cycle in which one failed relationship reinforces the belief that relationships themselves are dangerous or destined to end badly. 6. Men who have negative beliefs about relationships or rigid standards. This can involve unrealistic expectations of women, hostility toward dating, extreme cynicism, or beliefs shaped by repeated rejection, disappointment, or past trauma. After enough negative experiences, some men begin to assume that relationships are pointless or that potential partners cannot be trusted. Eventually, some may stop dating altogether. What begins as disappointment can gradually become a permanent belief that relationships simply aren't worth pursuing. 7. Men living in areas with unfavorable gender ratios. Geography can also influence relationship opportunities. In some areas, there may be substantially more men than women. In other places, the opposite may be true. When the population has a significant imbalance between men and women, the number of potential partners available to each person naturally changes. This doesn't mean someone in an unfavorable dating environment is destined to remain single, but the surrounding demographics can make finding a compatible partner more difficult. 8. Women living in expensive, urban, or highly individualistic environments. Women living in large cities or highly individualistic societies may also experience factors associated with later marriage or lifelong singlehood. Urban environments can provide greater independence and more opportunities for education and careers, but they can also contribute to delayed marriage. Financial independence changes the role marriage plays in a person's life as well. When someone doesn't need a spouse for financial security, housing, social status, or basic survival, marriage becomes more of a personal choice than a necessity. As a result, people may become more selective about whether and when they enter a long-term relationship. 9. Women with heavy caregiving responsibilities. Another factor involves women who spend significant portions of their adult lives caring for others. This might include looking after aging parents, disabled relatives, or other family members who depend heavily on them. Caregiving can consume enormous amounts of time, energy, and emotional capacity. When someone is constantly responsible for another person's needs, there may be very little time left for dating or developing a long-term romantic relationship. The issue may not be a lack of desire for companionship. Sometimes life simply leaves little room for pursuing it. 10. Older men who have never had a serious relationship. Men who reach their late 40s or 50s without ever having established a meaningful romantic relationship may face a higher likelihood of remaining single long-term. One reason is that social opportunities often become narrower with age. People may have fewer friends, spend less time in social environments, and become more settled into established routines. As those opportunities decline, meeting new potential partners becomes more difficult. If someone has never developed the social or relationship skills necessary to form romantic connections, the challenge can become even greater as time passes. 11. Men who have experienced severe rejection, betrayal, or divorce. A man who has experienced betrayal, abuse, a devastating divorce, or years of rejection may eventually decide that staying away from relationships is safer than risking another emotional injury. For some, withdrawal becomes a form of self-protection. Others may have never developed the interpersonal skills needed to create strong emotional connections in the first place. After repeated rejection, they may stop trying because avoiding relationships feels less painful than continuing to experience disappointment. Unfortunately, the strategy that protects someone from future pain can also prevent them from experiencing future intimacy. 12. Highly educated or career-focused women. Finally, education and career success can sometimes influence the size of a woman's dating pool. Highly educated or professionally successful women may prefer partners with comparable levels of education, career achievement, income, or financial stability. Some may even prefer a partner who has surpassed them in one or more of these areas. The more specific those preferences become, the smaller the pool of potential partners may become. This doesn't mean that education, ambition, or career success are problems. They aren't. The point is simply that having a highly specific set of requirements can reduce the number of people who qualify as potential partners.